Welcome to Hiking Adventures with Mark Winfield. We're in the Catalonia region of Spain. Today we're hiking from El Port de la Selva to Palau Saverdera, and we will be climbing over the Serra de Verdera mountain range. The hike is moderate in difficulty, but we did have one little sketchy stretch in the middle. We're just leaving our hotel, and our first turn takes us out to the water at the port. This is Port de la Selva, and this is a working port. You can see there's a good-sized fishing boat and another one beyond it. When we were here last night, we saw a couple of good-sized fishing vessels come in. We're walking along the shore on our way to the first trail. We're just leaving the street and going to what's described as a coastal footpath, and we got a great view of the town here. It's about 9:45 in the morning, and the cycle of life here in Spain is different than North America. For example, this morning at our hotel, breakfast wasn't starting to be served until 8 o'clock, so it's hard to get an early start. So we're still on the coastal walk, and we're here at Port de la Selva, which is the town right here. We're right in this spot, and our destination today is Palau Saverdera, which is across the mountains, about 13 or 14 kilometers, I think. And I think 2,500 feet of elevation change, but we'll let you know as we go along. We're passing a campground, and we're going to head, I think, onto a trail here shortly. Turned away from the coastal path. We've now turned onto a path, and this apparently will lead us, at least towards, the village of Val de Santa Cruz. Signpost, and we head that way. There's somebody's house once. This was somebody's shelter once upon a time. We haven't seen many good-sized streams in our travels, a lot of little tiny ones, but this one seems to be quite interesting. It appears that we've arrived at the village of Val de Santa Cruz, and we're at 128 meters. The trail goes this way, and away we go. We're finding our way indirectly through this little village. Very quaint spot. We're quite certain up here is the right way. We actually saw another hiker wander up this way. We're still in the village, and every once in a while we've come across these little signs on the signpost, and we're at an altitude of 175 meters. There's a bunch of directional signs here for hikers. We'll be heading up that way. And the stream goes down that way. And that's where we came from. We're not far out of the village, and we're hiking along the edge of a vineyard. A very large one. Very quaint. the trouble with hiking here is there's too many things to stop and look at. It's the kind of problem you want to have. We've been traveling along a fairly steep valley with this mountain stream going down the middle of it. There's a lot of humidity up here, so you have to be a little careful with your footing. Going to cross this stream and head up the trail that way. And the trail goes up. We're at 287 meters and we've been climbing steadily for the last while. We're continuing on up and we have caught a glimpse of the monastery that is one of our stops along the way in our hike. We're quite close to it actually. That's where we started today. Yeah, you can just barely see the top of the monastery there, which we're going to, and there's a road up there. But if you look at this hillside, we're fairly high up. We're at 300 meters or more. And the hillside is steps, so it was once an agricultural area. And here's another one of these stone buildings, which we saw on our hike often yesterday. We've come to a bit of a challenge here to get across this short passage. Rather than risk sliding down, we're going to follow this rock wall above that section of the trail. And a slight amount of bushwhacking here, nothing serious, we hope. Here we're above our obstacle, above a rock wall. Patty says there's a little bit of a trail here, so that's what we're doing. Okay. Yeah. We're directly above the impassable part of the trail, and we're quite a distance above the trail already. And we've determined that to get by this, we're going to have to follow the rock walls kind of around there, across the stream over there, and then back down there to rejoin the trail. Well, we have just come through the gnarliest bit of bushwhacking that I've ever done. And we're now back to the stream and the trail. A little bit of excitement there. I expect Patty with her short pants has been scratched up a bit. That's the stretch of trail that obviously has been just washed out by Storm Gloria. And we ended up going up there, and then further up there, and across there, and over there, back there, and down through those thick brushes to get back down to here. Nasty bit of work. Trail continues up this way towards the monastery. We just passed that nasty stream going up, and we're at an elevation of 361 meters. There's Patty with a smile, despite the fact that the trail remains very challenging. And have to be very cautious. So we've just come up the trail there, stopping to have a little break, some trail mix and clementines. We're just below the monastery. We don't think we're far away. And we started way over there. Trail remains rough. Got our first full view of the monastery. We still have a little bit more climbing to do yet. Trail goes in that direction. We're close to the monastery at an elevation of 450 meters. We're at the road, which we're crossing just below the monastery, and you can see in this direction, up on the hillside or mountainside, is a chapel. I don't know if our route will take us there. And you can see here We have some athletic bikers, and there's the monastery. And up above it are ruins which I believe date back to the Roman times, but I'm not sure. When you think about hiking in Spain, what probably comes to mind first of all is the Camino Santiago, which is on the other side of the country. This monastery is at the start of the less known Camino Saint Jean. We're inside the monastery for a real quick tour. We're now traveling from the monastery up to the castle ruins. We've opted out of going to the castle ruins because we feel a little bit pressed for time, so we're at the crest of the mountain, and the trail goes this way. Apparently goes for about half a kilometer along this ridge, and then we get to a junction. You can see now we're up in the clouds, and there's a lot of moisture around. We've only taken a few steps, and already we're stopping for a picture. We've arrived at what appears to be the summit of the mountain. We're at 632 meters. We have no views, unfortunately, because we're in the clouds on both sides of the mountain now. We're continuing down, and this is actually not a bad track, but you can see here this ditch that we presume has been made by recent Storm Gloria, where they had the biggest storm in 40 years. But it's not really causing us any problems. We just made a right turn on the trail towards St. Helena. We've arrived here at the ruins, which are at about 550 meters elevation. You can see over there is the monastery that we visited, so as the crows fly, I'd say we're not more than a mile from there. I'm not sure why there would have been this fairly significant church here with the monastery so nearby. After reading one of the information tablets, this was in fact a town at one point. And as was the tradition, the church was always the center of attention in the town. After a bit of uncertainty as to where we should go, we did a bit of a road walk and arrived down here, and we feel quite certain that we're on the right track because we're going to St. Onofre, which has a little monastery which is on the way to Palau Saverdera, which is our final destination. We're at 389 meters and continuing down. Come across this interesting feature here. I don't know if it's natural or not. That's a pretty big rock, but sun's starting to come out a little bit, which is great. The wind has let up, or at least it seems like it, for the trail that we're on. And we're just commenting that this is a great trail. It's not an easy trail, but it's we've really enjoyed hiking on it. Came from up there, heading down the trail here. The trail's very rough. It's not dangerous or anything, but you just have to really take your time, so it's very slow going. A little bit of water to cross on the trail. Trail goes over there. See you on the other side. Trail has gotten a little more friendly, and we like that. And of course, gorgeous views. Coming to the edge of civilization here. This was a great hike that Patty and I both agree was a 5-star. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please consider subscribing to my channel, and I hope to see you outdoors.